excellent day for an exorcism.
Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast.
I'm John.
Fuck capitalism!
I'm Lindsay, trying to write horror novels because I was a weird kid.
The whole world is a urinal.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Hello! And welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm M.
And we're going to be reviewing the Blair Witch Project today from 1999. We've been off for a month because someone had an existential breakdown. But he's alright now. He's fine. So,
Was it only a month?
yeah, I did nothing for a month and then published 2 episodes in 4 days. I'm very,
Polar.
that could be it too. Yeah.
Manic, depressive.
Oh, all of those.
Yeah.
All of those. I'm in need of a therapist. Woohoo!
Same.
Alright, has anybody watched anything?
You have?
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you watch?
Yeah, I watched Fresh on Hulu. Highly recommend.
Not what you think it is.
It is not. It's not what you. No, it's not what you think it is. In fact, there's even some scenes that you're like, oh, this is the part where it's what I think it is, and then it's not.
And we might review this one too.
Right.
That Fresh.
Yeah. Might put that in the
Yep.
lineup.
Yep. I watched Dolls and Popcorn. They're old. So I would recommend Popcorn. I would not recommend Dolls. I would just watch Child's Play if you want a doll movie. Even Puppet Master sucks. No? Nobody?
I haven't seen Puppet
Em,
Master.
come on, I know you've seen Puppet Master.
No.
But you got me wanting to watch it when you told me about it before, though, so I probably will watch it eventually.
Super good, especially if you like the cheesiness of 50s horror movies. So.
I do sometimes. I think they can be fun.
So we started a bunch of new social media stuff, which we're gonna, like we always do, we're gonna tell you where to go at the end of the show and everything. But Em's never used Twitter before,
Correct.
and I put her in charge of that. And she had a run-in. Do you have the guy's name?
It's not really, I don't want to call it a run. He was just kind of a dick.
Well, you look it up. I want to explain something to everybody. There's no need to be a dick.
Yeah.
You gotta understand, Em's being very polite, is finding her way through Twitter here. There's no, I know that everybody has their own little rules and everything, but just give her a break, man.
They don't even know it's me. It's just another.
Yeah, but they should
horror
just be
podcast.
nicer to people in
Just
general.
in general,
You don't need to flip
be
out on
nice,
people
everybody.
for
His
nothing.
name
Yeah.
is Uchia Nate.
I want to know how to spell it because
Uchia Nate.
say at and then spell it out.
At UCHIHANATEYT.
Yeah, that's you jerk.
He was like, okay, so I was just going through anytime he had put on there that he watched Carrie. I mean, it was just, he watched Carrie, and I was like, hey, we have a Carrie episode, and he was like, don't promote in my comments. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I only do it when, it relates to the post. And he's like, well, don't!
Right. And I'm not going to tell everybody to go to his Twitter page and, I don't know, flood it with a bunch of rude comments that make him really upset, or even unfollow him. I would never say to unfollow him and leave him with no
I
followers.
don't know who he is.
So, totally don't do the things I just said to do. Ever. Right now, while you're listening to this show.
You sound like Cody Johnston.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
If anybody wants to comment and tell me what are the bad things to do on Twitter, that would be great because
Cool.
I don't know the Twitter etiquette.
Yeah.
I see something and I'm like, hey, here, I'll comment on it. Sure.
She's finding her way. If this fucker would have done this to me, I would have made his life hell and then blocked him. But you've got a very nice person and
Yeah.
there's no need to be rude. Now, Blair Witch.
The Blair Witch Project.
I reviewed this a long time ago with Cobra, of course, and Wes. There's 7 episodes I did with Wes. And, man, I'm glad we're redoing it because it was just arguing. That's where the tagline for the show came from.
Walk to that field, then
They
you'll be
do.
safe. They don't go to that field.
You're gonna be safe just so you're in the field.
No, there's a road you get to see too, I think, somewhere in it.
I don't remember seeing a road.
Maybe we
Half
should
at
watch it
best.
harder next time.
Watch it harder. You want me to put my eyes on the glass?
There's a road scene. You
This
can
is
see a
the
road
tagline
through
of
the
the
brush.
podcast. Watch
You
it harder.
You can see the road through some brush.
They gave it like ones.
Wow.
Bullshit.
It's
Now,
a very split movie. Like, people hate it or they love it, it seems like.
I have a couple notes in here as to some scenes specifically that are divisive, that may cause the divide, but I have always loved this movie, and it only got better when I started smoking pot a lot. So, but do you have the synopsis?
3 film students vanished after traveling into a Maryland forest to film a documentary on the local Blair Witch legend, leaving only their footage behind.
So I have several theories as to what happens here. Do you have some?
A couple.
Okay, you have one?
Well, do we want to go through the movie?
Yeah, we're gonna go
Or
through the movie.
Okay.
I just think it's very ambiguous. This
It
movie
is. And I like that about it.
Yeah. Someone called, what is that, Film Theory on YouTube did a theory that I kind of agree with, but not fully. And if you want to check that out, go on YouTube and look up Film Theory Blair Witch.
It is really interesting. I watched it.
Yeah. And I kind of buy it, but not quite. So,
Yeah. I don't think I do buy it, but I like the concept. It's an interesting idea.
right. So I'm going to, each time that something pops up in the plot that has to do with one of the theories, I'm going to pop in there and then, yeah, we'll get through it.
Okay.
Okay, so...
I actually saw this in movie theaters.
Oh, wow.
It
So you
came
saw
out-
it back when it was still thought to be real.
Yes, we saw it, and when people were going to see it, they were arguing about whether or not it was actually real.
Yeah.
No internet. Or limited internet.
There was
Very
internet,
limited.
and that's
It was-
kind of what
They
got it
used
started.
it, but yeah, you
It was
couldn't...
99, so like I had email, but you didn't Google things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I remember, I remember going to see it, kind of being freaked out, thinking maybe it was real. But then when I saw it, I was like, oh, this isn't real.
Yeah.
Like, it.
What
just wasn't
tipped
real.
you off to it that it wasn't real?
Actually, rewatching it again, what really tipped me off was when Mike was like, you know what's funny? I threw that map in the river. And I'm like, okay. Okay.
No one would ever do that.
I would
Ever.
hope
Right.
not.
Right. And that's when I was like, it's not real.
I saw it as soon as it came out on video. I didn't get to see it when it was in theater. So at that time, we knew it wasn't real because they had like shown up at the MTV Movie Awards.
Right.
Right.
They signed that year-long thing that they had to sign,
Yeah.
but they didn't stick to it because
Right.
MTV brought them out. So I've only seen one of these actors in another movie, and it's Josh, and he plays Robert Englund's kid at the beginning of Hatchet, and he's dead almost immediately. So
He's been in quite a bit of stuff. I haven't
Has he?
seen him in much of
Okay.
it though. He was in 6 episodes. Wait, Mike or Josh? Did you say?
sorry, Josh.
Josh. Okay,
Josh.
yes. So that's the right one. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the one that's been in a lot. I saw him in Bates Motel. He was in like 6 episodes of Bates
He's
Motel.
just kind of the same guy.
Well, he was different. He was older at that point.
Oh,
He
okay.
was like a professor, and he.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. He liked Norman Bates' mother, Norma.
Who doesn't like Vera Farmiga, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The movie kicks off in Heather's house, and we find out that she's just going to film everything.
Yeah.
That's what we get right away. She's obsessed with
And
this.
they're
Mhm.
college students.
Yeah.
And
Right.
she's working on a project.
So, right away, Josh and Mike are working for free, and Mike doesn't even know Heather. So
Right.
that plays into that theory from
He
the
doesn't
film
know
theories.
Josh either, does he?
He knows Josh.
Oh, he
I-
does. I
I
thought they
hope.
both said nice to meet you.
I thought it was just her that said nice to meet you.
I thought so.
Okay.
He has to know somebody, right? I mean,
Right. I mean, how would he get in on this? Like,
Right.
unless they like put out like something in a paper or something trying to find someone. But I don't think so. I think they knew.
Okay.
Somebody
she
did.
knew.
Yeah.
She knew Josh, and Josh knew both her and Mike.
Right. Later on, Josh says something like, "This isn't what I brought you out here for, man." So that must mean
Yeah.
that they know each other. I've been at this cemetery that they go
Oh
to
wow,
at the beginning.
that's so cool.
It was awesome.
I want to go.
So the most important part of this movie is the beginning of it, in my opinion. All of these different stories set up different things that could be happening, and
right. Yeah.
you don't get the dread without all these different. Like, you get the feeling that the people in the town know something is there, and if they can, they try to avoid that area as much as they can. So my theory about the townspeople doing this seems off because nobody goes there. Like, nobody's going all the way back there, let alone just, like, barely in the woods. They're deep in the woods.
Right.
So I'm just going to scratch that one out. It's not the townspeople.
It could be because
It could.
they were around town asking everybody about it, so they all knew what they were planning on doing, probably.
But who
So
brought
they
their
could've been
kids out
like-
in the middle of the night and had them rustle the tent?
Right, yeah. I don't
So-
think that is what it was, but it's possible.
So one of the stories is someone named Rustin Parr taking kids to his house in 1940. He took 7 kids there, came back. He said he was all done, and he had been murdering them in his basement one at a time.
But he would bring them down in twos, which
Yep.
that doesn't really add up to 7 and 2.
No,
so
I kept trying to do the math.
He must have killed one of them by himself.
They there's a whole biography on Rustin Parr
Yes, there is.
online, and they said he went and lived in the woods or whatever, and he would come into town like twice a year or something like that for supplies. But then he slowly started to go crazy, and that's after that and he was being told what to do by an old lady witch or whatever.
Right.
So one theory is that he killed 7 kids. After the 7th one, she told him to stop. You're done. And Heather, Mike, and Josh are 8, 9, and 10.
Huh.
Oh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But he was out there for years before he started seeing her and hearing her voice
Yeah.
and everything.
That theory works if you include the sequel, not Book of Shadows, the other one.
I haven't
Because
seen it.
they're stuck in a time loop in that movie. That's why they can't get out. Like, they can only go so far, then they're stuck in the same area forever. So that makes perfect sense. Like, the witch is like, and then they'll come in, and then all the time is all fucked up there.
Supposedly he had, when he brought them down by twos, he had the one look into the corner because he didn't like the eyes on him while he was killing
So he
the
didn't
first
want to
one.
kill anybody.
No, I don't think so. I think he was only doing it because of the old lady ghost that was making him do it.
Whose name is Ellie.
Oh, no, I
Oh,
forget.
shit.
She has a name.
Yeah.
Edward. Sorry.
Ellie Kedward.
Yes, and actually Rustin Parr and Ellie Kedward were they're what's when you switch the letters around?
Anagrams?
Yeah. Ellie Kedward, the Blair Witch, is an anagram for Edward Kelly, a 16th century mystic, and Rustin Parr is an anagram for the fictional Rustin Parr, the fictional 1940s child murderer, is an anagram for Rasputin.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Just a little tidbit.
So somebody brings up Mary Brown, right?
Yeah.
Now we go
so
to-
then they go talk to her.
Did you notice her fence?
No, I didn't. I was only looking at her. I wasn't like looking.
Her fence is a bunch of sticks tied together with rope.
Oh, interesting.
It looks.
And also, she seemed very witchy herself.
Mm-hmm. She didn't seem crazy though. To me, she seemed like she wasn't just saying random shit. She had
Right.
a very straightforward story to tell.
Yeah.
But they blew her off like she was crazy.
Mhm.
Yep.
While I thought Mary Brown might have either been possessed by the witch, because she's obviously not going out there and hanging up shit on her own.
Right.
But something like that. But I don't know. It just thought.
So
it
do you
was-
think that she made up that story about the woman with horsehair all over her, or do you think she actually saw that?
She saw it, and I think maybe the Blair Witch is messing with her a little bit too. It's just the fact that that fence looks so similar to those stick figures in the
interesting.
trees. There's got to be a connection there. That can't be accidental.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that.
So, find out that Mike hates the camera. He just makes some passing mention of like, it's too early for this. Turn it off. So that sets up the kind of person Mike is. He's just kind of there to get this done and get the hell out of there. But Heather is talking about rewind the tape and see if the filter's right and see if I don't know camera stuff, but she's just going on about all this different shit. Then they go into the woods and talk to some fishermen. And I thought this scene was actually pretty funny. Because the young guy is like, oh, you're full of shit. And the old dude's like telling a very serious story about like Robin Weaver.
Yeah.
Weird.
Right? I thought it was you.
But she just got lost and then appeared 3 days later.
Well, disappeared, and then 3 days later appeared on her grandmother's porch and talked about an old woman whose feet never touched the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
And the old dude saw some mist coming out of the water and then taken off. And he wasn't even drinking that day.
I like the woman with the little girl she was holding, and the little girl's like, "No, don't tell it. Like, it's too scary of a story."
And those were just like local people that they were like, tell us a story about, and they kind of like led them like kind of about like, tell us a story kind of about this, and then they ad-libbed it.
Yeah.
There is no concrete story here. They were not given a concrete script.
Right. I mean, the whole thing was pretty much improvised.
Mm-hmm. It's very clear to me right away that Heather knows exactly where she is. She knows how to read this map. She finds Coffin. They're like, where are we? Why aren't we there yet? But they find Coffin Rock because she knows where she's going.
Yeah.
So Coffin Rock is where 5 people were put in the shape of a pentagram, and then their intestines were taken out.
Yeah.
So the people who found him went and got the cops, and when they came back, all the bodies were gone. Like, boom. Somebody moved all 5 of them, which is crazy. And then I started thinking, why are you camping in October? Couldn't you have done this when it's warmer? Like,
I'd prefer to camp when it's cooler because I would get too hot.
I guess it depends.
I need air conditioning.
I would agree.
Man. I just, because it's raining the entire time and it adds to the misery of the whole thing. It's cold, it's rainy.
If you're outside, it's easier to warm up when you're cold than it is to try and cool off.
Definitely.
Whatever, guys. I don't like cold. I'm a big baby. One night out there and I'd be like, I'm going home and quit.
Well, that would be me in the heat.
We all snuggled up in my sleeping bag. This is really comfy.
Yeah.
So they cross the tree for the first time here. And again, they're fighting about where they are. And again, Heather is like, I know where I am. And they aren't being real pushy about it, but it is annoying how much they're just like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like, at one point in this movie, I'm thinking to myself, why are you, like, if you're going, why are you stopping to argue if you know where you are or not? Like, it's taking up time. If you don't know where you are, you're not getting anywhere by just standing around and yelling at each other. Like, go! Just go!
Right, that was frustrating.
Plus,
but they might not have wanted to like continue moving in the wrong direction if they thought they weren't going in the right spot.
I just didn't, like, what did they think that she wanted to get them lost? That she wanted to, you know, not accomplish the goal? Did she, like...
But they said
But
that
she was very ambitious. She was very, you know, wanted to do this.
That's one of my theories.
What is it?
Heather didn't care if they came back alive. She just wanted to make a really good fucking movie.
But
and
then
all
she
this
would
stuff,
never...
who cares? Somebody will find it, and they did. I think it's possible. I'm not saying it did, but she went into the woods knowing full well shit might go down here.
Yeah.
And then when this shit did go down, she's like, I don't really want to go. So it's possible that she was fucking up or something like that in order to get more shit, more footage. Just an idea. Obviously, there's no concrete idea here.
She just seemed so ambitious and professional even. Like, whenever she sits in front of the camera to do the thing about the cemetery and everything, she's very, like, you know, you can tell, like, acting, broadcasting, media, like, that's her thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this cemetery that they're looking for, I don't think they knew it was just going to be a bunch of rocks laying everywhere.
Yeah.
But there are 7 graves.
For 7 children.
That's right. And so your theory makes sense because later they find 3 more for themselves.
That nice when it all adds up.
Yeah.
There were also
2
rocks in the tree, though.
Yeah, there was 1 up in the tree, and then there were other ones on the ground.
Was it 1 in the tree and 6 around, or 7 on the ground and 1 in the tree?
I don't know if there was just 1 separate one in the tree, but I thought there was 6 on the... Sorry. I thought there were 6 on the ground and 1 in the tree. But I don't know. Because she just was moving it around so fast, I didn't really... Yeah, well, now I'm going to have to watch it again.
Yeah, right.
So it's been raining and raining and raining this whole time. It's only getting more and more miserable outside. Which, when I watched this high, I was really feeling everything they were feeling. Lost, scared, cold, that's why it was so intense. I was like, man.
Yeah.
She
Like,
gets
even
out,
if you don't put, like, the witch and all the scary stuff into it, they're lost in the middle of the woods.
and that
Like,
sucks. And I was lost in the woods for like 5 hours, and it was the worst experience
yeah,
ever.
imagine for days.
Yeah. So
And every night they're hearing or experiencing something. Like the first night was just some cackling, and the second night was like knocking and snapping twigs and stuff like that.
Yeah, every
It's
night
kind
it
of
gets scarier.
gets worse.
they can't sleep. They can't eat. They're tired. They have no calories by the end of this movie, and they're trying to walk an impossible distance. Like, that's just gotta suck so bad. Forget the supernatural shit. This is awful.
Yeah. Did you know the producers of the movie gave them less and less food each day to like kind of make the conflict between them more, you know?
I think I saw an interview with Heather like a year or 2 years. I think it was in '99, and she said they actually filmed it in '97. And they said, I think she did say about the food that by the end, like there was like nothing. There was like a granola bar and an apple or something like that. But she said every day they would get up and they were given, she kept calling it a global positioning system. She's like you would find in, you know, a newer car, that kind of thing. You know? It's GPS. It's a GPS. But she kept calling it that. And I'm like, oh, that's how you know how old this is. She's like, we would follow the global positioning system and to whatever point that we were supposed to go to, and then there would be 3 film canisters with papers inside, and each one had their own. They weren't supposed to share it with each other, and they had 2, 3, 4 hours to accomplish whatever it told their character to do.
Oh, that is so cool.
So it was like, okay, so Brian opens his, and he's like, by the end of the day, you're supposed to be really pissed off and let the others know that you're the one who lost the map, or that you're the one that got rid of the map.
So
and then they would go from there.
So that's why he was just like, you know what, I kicked it in the river.
How do I bring this up?
But they did actually get lost a few times too, like the actors, because they didn't really know where they were going.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is good acting?
I do. I mean, like,
Same.
How many people believe this was real?
Right.
You can't have that with bad acting.
And that's one of the things that people bring up when they say they don't like this movie, is that the acting is bad. Like, what kind of acting do they want? Yeah, like...
It was very realistic acting.
Some of Heather, like, when she's screaming and, like, you know, especially when she finds out that he did get rid of the map, and I actually got a little emotional. Like, she was so pissed.
Yeah.
When she got out of the tent and she's like, oh my god, it's fucking freezing, the camera was like making like sounds, like rattling sounds, because she was shaking so much. Oh man, I felt it. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. I guess, like, I mean, she improvised that, of course, too, and she didn't mean to have the camera only getting her from, like, there up. That was, like, accidental, but it, like, worked out perfectly.
Yeah, because that's, like, an iconic visual.
So, they have not been able to sleep for 2 nights in a row because there's been all this snapping. And at this point, they're starting to figure out that they may be lost. So they camp again, even though they only wanted to camp, like, 2 days. This is now day 4. And when they wake up, there's the 3 piles of rocks. So, the map is also gone. They don't know who took the map. So, I was just thinking, what you just said, they must have taken it from her and been like, alright, good luck. That's so fucked up. And then not told her who had it or anything like that.
Yeah.
Wow. This movie rules.
At one point, like... Doesn't Heather suggest that maybe it's locals messing with them, or Josh messing them, or with that? And Mike's like, I don't want to mess with any locals, or I don't want to mess with any of that shit or whatever.
Right.
And then
like,
she pointed out
people.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, I don't want to mess with that either.
Yeah, she pointed out like we're looking for supernatural things here, and he's like, I don't want to mess with that either. And I'm just like I wrote like in all caps, why is Mike here? Like, why is he doing this? He doesn't want to be on camera. He doesn't want to get into any kind of, like, actually investigate or look into anything, and he's being a complete dick.
And I have, why did he go?
Right.
Yeah. If he didn't know her. I have the exact same thing, yeah. Like, what do you think's going to happen here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's like, I agreed to do a scouted out project. Well, did you check to make sure that everything that you wanted was done before you went? Or were you just like, did you scout it? And she's like, yeah. And you're like, okay, cool.
And he just believes this person he's never met. Then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Josh-
In the beginning, he seemed like he wanted to be. He was like, "Thanks for letting me be a part of this and everything."
Right.
Like he wanted to be involved, but once things got going, he didn't really seem like it anymore.
So if your theory was... not your theory. I did not mean to call it your theory. I'm sorry. If the film theory's theory was correct, did Josh work with Mike to steal the map?
Well, that's a very good possibility because they had been he was looking at the map.
They were passing it all around.
And
Yeah.
like he said he gave it back to her, but did he? He might have just kept it and then he knew what happened the whole time then. That Mike had thrown it in the river.
I don't think Heather lost it. I think
Somebody took it, yeah.
because she was on top of her shit.
Right.
She's like, and I put it in this pocket or whatever every single time, and she would have done that. She was very much on top of her
Right, yeah.
She knew what she was doing, and it was well scouted out. So at this point, I have mansplaining Josh because there's a scene where he's talking and he's like literally like putting his hand up and going like this. It's really funny. He's like, at this point, if they don't know, if we're not home, we're supposed to be at work. My girlfriend's gonna know we're missing. They'll be out here looking for us. It's just they're so far deep in that they wouldn't even know where to look. So
Right.
and they also said nobody knows we're out here. So
I mean, people in town did.
right, but they don't know how long they're supposed to be out there, or when they're coming back, or exactly where they went.
But I think if people did, okay, so realistically, say his girlfriend goes to the town and is like, I'm looking for my boyfriend who was doing a film project.
Yeah.
People in town would be like, oh yeah, they were here.
Right.
You know
And
what
I mean, did they honestly not tell their families they were going to go do this? Nobody knew they were going to go to the woods?
Well, I know that for the promotion for the film, they had a whole like half-hour thing where they were like cops going in the woods with dogs looking for them.
They have the
somebody must have
posters with
known.
their pictures and
Right,
everything.
yeah. So, yeah, I guess he was right. They did go look for him. They're just a little bit too late. So,
Maybe they were in another dimension.
time dimension. Yeah. So now we find out Mike kicked it in the river. He's just real nonchalant about it and thinks it's a big joke.
There was a point where the arguing was getting kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Like the constant arguing.
Right.
I have yelling won't help.
Mm-hmm.
So they just yell.
But it's
and yell and yell.
realistic, too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably what would have been happening between them.
Yeah.
And at this point, after they yell at Mike for a really, really long time, that's when they come across all these weird sticks. Like,
Yeah.
looking like people tied up in the trees. And all I could think was, did Mary Brown come out here with a ladder? Like, how the fuck did those get up there? And Heather's really insistent on getting all of this and for as long as possible. I think Josh makes a good point that you got it. You got it as much as you possibly can. There's no reason to stay here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But, what the fuck is all that?
Voodoo stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how that ties into anything going on.
Well, they thought
here.
it was like the witch that had done it, though.
She just tied up stick figures in the...
She had a thing for twigs.
Yeah.
There's actually an alternate ending where Mike is actually tied against the basement wall looking like those sticks and twigs.
Yeah, they did multiple alternate endings, like, because the studio thought that the one that they did with him in the corner there was not scary enough, and so they, like, refilmed, like, a few different ones, and then they decided to just go with the original one anyway.
Dude, there's nothing scarier than having you screaming your head off at someone and they just completely
I know,
ignore
I think
you.
it was perfect.
So now they hear more shit at night, and this is both the scariest part of the movie, well, the second scariest to me, but also the most divisive, I think, because even you, when we were watching it, there's these things shaking the tent. Kids are yelling and moaning and laughing, and
Yeah,
so
that was creepy.
they run like full speed out of there with the cameras, and Heather yells, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
And you can either take that as, oh man, I'm so creeped out, or I want to see what it was. What was it? Come on, man.
And I know what it was because they had one of the crew members like wrapped in gauze, like all in white, to the side, and Josh's camera like tried to get it, but they didn't get it. He didn't like have it moved far enough to actually get it in the view, so we don't see that. But that was what
Still
was
works.
there,
Yeah.
and I think it's good not seeing it, but
Because you needed them to have an authentic reaction
Right,
to it.
yeah.
I wish she was screaming. Oh my god.
And they didn't know any of this was gonna happen either, because this is all film people like messing with them. Like they had to sign a thing before they filmed this to allow them to mess with their minds. Like they knew that they were gonna come out and do things in the night, but they didn't know what. So it was like to get an authentic reaction from them.
Right.
That was goddamn creepy. Those kids.
No,
Oh
that
my
was creepy.
God. So
And that's the night that Josh disappears, right? He's not there in
not
the
yet.
morning.
Not yet.
I thought.
No,
The night
Josh's
after.
Okay.
shit was thrown around.
And had slime on
Had
it.
slime all
Oh,
over
that's
it.
right. That's right. Okay. What does the blue do? Do we know?
We don't know.
She's supernatural, so she must have been fucking with
Yeah.
the shit. So at this point on day 5, they're just fucking mad. And they just want to leave, and they're yelling at Heather. And Heather, of course, is like, I gotta film the slime, I gotta film the tent, I gotta film this, gotta film that. And then they end up back at the tree, even though they walked in the same direction
South all day, supposedly.
all day. Now Josh has decided now's a good time to torment Heather for no reason. Just, it's probably more
Torment Mike. He's the one
Yeah.
who got rid of the map.
Right, yeah.
which feeds into that theory that Mike and Josh are working to fucking fuck with Heather. Yeah. Because Mike's the one that fucked them here, not Heather. Heather didn't do anything wrong.
But if that was the case, if it really was Josh and Mike, who was outside their tent shaking it
Exactly.
around?
That just makes the whole theory fall apart. Who's making those twigs break off in the distance?
Right,
like,
yeah.
did they have somebody else working with them? Nobody brings that up in that either. He doesn't even
Right.
touch on that. So let me back up here and cross that theory out. So right now all I have left is the witch and Heather did it. So they're hungry and they're walking around with no calories. They have no food left at all. They start talking a lot about food,
Yeah.
like pancakes and mashed potatoes and all this
Pumpkin
shit.
pie and
Yeah.
ice cream.
And when they wake up on day 6, Josh is gone, which there was no noise that night. But Josh is gone.
Because they didn't have a fire.
Right.
Because they thought that was attracting them to
That was
them.
letting them know where their location
Yeah.
was.
So at this point, like, Heather's showing her hands and they're so dirty.
Yeah.
And man, I just feel so fucking bad for these guys.
Oh, yeah.
They're screaming for Josh. They can't find him, and they decide they're just going to give up and start walking. And they only walk for not long, and then they immediately set up the tent again. And they wake up because Josh is off in the distance, screaming in agony. Why do I have that in quotes? Nobody said that. I said that.
What is it?
This is like the back rooms. Do you know what the back rooms are?
No.
It's this cool thing on YouTube. It was a creepypasta about, like, you're walking around reality and then all of a sudden you're in this room that looks like an office building, and it's all these, we watched one of them. It's all these yellow walls and fluorescent lighting, and no matter where you go, it all looks the same. You just keep walking and keep walking and keep walking, and it all looks the same over and over and over
You
again.
keep coming back to the same places. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until eventually you end up, like, at a monster, basically. Somebody mentioned at the beginning that people had disappeared off the face of the earth. One of the stories that the townspeople were saying. So I was like, is that what happened to Josh? Did he just...
Yeah, like in another dimension now.
I think on night 6 he's alive, but after night 6 he's dead.
Right, and we hear him again, but it's not really him.
That's the scariest part of the
Yeah.
movie to me, because of the shit that he says. So, day 7 they wake up, and they figure he would have said where he was if it was Josh, right? But they wake up and there's a gift wrapped in Josh's shirt. And I don't know what all's in there.
There's teeth
A
and
tongue.
blood.
There's a tongue.
Is it a tongue?
They got the teeth from an actual dentist that gave them extra teeth.
Yeah. I read a couple times in different places that it is a tongue.
Now,
So,
Heather never told Mike that she found that,
right.
right?
She didn't want to. She just got rid of it. Yeah.
What I found was so odd was that after Josh disappeared, Mike really calmed down.
Mhm.
Like, he
Yeah.
was much more, okay, let's just go do this. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He has two tonal shifts there, and when they get in the house,
Yes.
it ramps back up again.
Mm-hmm. But yet he seems different in the house than he did at any time in the movie, I feel like.
Right.
More
What was
aggressive.
he like in
sort
the
of.
house?
Screaming, Josh, where are you? Tell me where he's downstairs. He's upstairs. Come on. Just leaving Heather behind.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's way more worried about Josh than anything else. So
And you think, and like he even said, like it can't really be him. Like before they went in there, so like why don't you at least stick together with Heather and
Right.
not like just keep going all over the place? Like there's probably something bad going on,
Right.
like that, and you're not even gonna find alive Josh probably.
Maybe they were trying to get across the fact that he didn't know for sure that Josh was dead.
right. And
Heather knew that he. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
had body parts.
he can't be
Right.
screaming. That's for sure because he has
Right.
no tongue. So
But I think I don't know, I think he probably was just desperate to find his friend. And like by the time he got like down to the basement, he sounded genuinely scared for his friend, and like he's like, Josh, like he sounded like he was gonna cry.
also, Cal Ripken, he's so close. He's so close to breaking the all-time games played in a row record, but Mike's gonna miss it because he's in the woods. You missed that part, I think.
I
He's
missed it.
He's yelling. He's like 2,192
Oh,
games.
I did see that. I did see that. Fucking baseball.
Now Heather has the speech, right, where she's saying, "I'm sorry for everything." Right. You can either look at this
So
as
That was before
That's
that.
before they
Like,
found it.
that was before they got to the house.
yeah,
That was-
yeah, before they
Was
get
it?
to the house. Cal Ripken. Then it cuts to
Oh, we're at the Cal Ripken thing.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Cal Ripken, and then it cuts to her.
Uh-huh.
And you can either look at this as Heather being honest and scared, or you can look at it like my fucking co-host did and say, "There's snot everywhere, it's disgusting." Oh my god.
God forbid a woman has a bodily function.
No, you guys are just things. You shouldn't be having emotions and
I never
liquids.
blow my nose.
And, yeah, liquids and... That's what I have. Or scared or lame because snot is what I wrote down.
That's not like they just had a big supply of Kleenexes with them.
And it's just, it made me really sad here because she's trying to do this and she's still being tormented by this thing. It won't leave them the fuck alone for a second.
Yeah.
So now...
She did have time to French braid her hair, though. That was another way that I knew it was fake.
Ah, yeah.
Because her hair was in a ponytail the day before, and then it was in a French braid. And I'm like,
She
no.
didn't bother
If you're
with
scared
that.
to death in the woods, you're not French braiding your hair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maybe it was like a calming thing for her, like to get her mind off things. I don't know.
Last walk. Josh is yelling with no tongue. And they're walking towards it for some reason. I drew this and tried to explain this to her, and I'll have to say it through audio. But in Zelda, okay, nerd time.
This is your theory about why they can't find their way out of the woods,
One of
right?
them, yeah.
One of the theories.
So in Zelda, you go into these woods, and you start walking, and you literally just keep going like this. If you go up, you just keep going up. But if you go doop, doop, and then
repeats.
it comes out here, and then you go like this, it comes out over here. There's also some stairs. You go up, you're looking at the same rocks. You go up some more, you're looking at the same rocks. You go up some more. At that point, you'd be like, this game's broken, I'm going to go back down. But if you go up one more, there's a house up there, and this little music goes. That's what this reminded me of a little bit. Like, they just kept walking south until eventually they got past whatever it is they needed to get past, and here's a house. Which I'm sure they were half excited and half terrified.
Right.
I'm sure in their brain they thought, we're going to walk past this tree for the rest of the time we're alive, and then we're going to die.
Yeah.
But now there's a house.
I would not have been excited about the house. I would
Me
have been
neither.
scared
It was a
shitless.
creepy old abandoned house.
After everything that's happened, you got to think the witch lives in there, right?
Yeah.
At night and everything.
Yeah.
And now Josh is yelling in there, and he says, "Please follow my voice." Fuck!
Right. Yeah.
So, "Please follow my voice" is not... I don't think that's what a person would be yelling, that exact phrase. that's what someone who was pretending to be somebody would be yelling. When I saw that, and I was like,
Okay. See, I didn't have the subtitles on, so I didn't really know what all Josh was saying.
Right,
I
it
need
sounds
to
like
rewatch
muffled.
it with subtitles.
It's muffled shit, but then when they actually show what it says, oh my god, that sent chills all over, man.
Ah, yeah.
When he said, please follow my voice, I'm like, don't follow that thing!
Yeah.
Man, it reminds me of skinwalkers. Have you ever heard of skinwalkers?
Yes.
They mimic the sounds of whatever they're around, so like they
Yeah.
open their mouth and a chainsaw sound will come out. That's what it reminded
And
me
it
of.
reminded me of a dark song whenever we talked about that. The demons are using her son's voice.
Right, yeah, it reminded me of that too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Check out that episode.
Yeah!
Yeah.
They walk by a noose by the door too. Just nonchalantly, a noose is just hanging
Oh, I didn't
there.
know.
Oh, I didn't see that either.
Walk by it, I'm like,
Don't go in this house, people.
So,
And then it's so creepy in the house. You have all these little handprints.
symbols on the door frames. Just so much shit. And then Mike just takes off running. He goes upstairs and then just runs right by Heather and runs down to the basement.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Wait, dude. Slow down. So he gets conked on the head. And then Heather walks down slowly and sees Mike in the corner and is screaming.
And he
He
just stands there.
does not move.
Doesn't turn around.
Mm-mm. Terrifying.
Yes.
And then she's just dropped. And then 1999, John's dad goes, "What the fuck was that? The movie sucked." And I'm like, what do you mean it sucked?
Kind of in 1999, I kind of agreed with
Yes,
because
I liked it so much better rewatching it now.
yes, for sure, because I really did not pay enough attention to what the townspeople were saying at the beginning. So at the end, I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? You know?
Yeah, like
I
what
was
just
very
happened?
confused.
Like,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed it 100 times more this
Me
time
too.
watching it.
Which is weird because a lot of people have said it's gotten worse over time.
Oh, I disagree.
I completely disagree. Yeah. I think they just don't like found footage movies.
Yeah.
But man, this one, I get that like it can be a little nauseating with the camera work. I didn't think this one was. It didn't bother me at all.
It didn't bother me either.
Did you get sick in the theater?
I don't remember. No, I don't think I did. No.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it makes it so much more realistic that way. They're not going to have like professional camera work going on.
Mm. All right, that is the end of the Blair Witch. Now, I want to, before we give our scores, what's your theory? What do you think is going on?
I think it is the witch, personally. I think it's like the ghost of the witch, and she makes things happen, and she's creating all this. Because, I mean, some of it just has to be supernatural.
Yes.
You know? Like, I mean, sure, it's possible that they have, like, speakers all around that have, like, sounds coming at them, and somebody's out there shaking the tent, but what are the chances of that? Like, out in the middle of nowhere like that?
Like Mike said, no redneck is this creative.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So, that's what I think.
My theory, I think when I woke up this morning or yesterday morning, I can't remember what it was that Mike is a serial killer.
All right.
I was like, he's the last one. He's the last one you see alive. And Heather in the basement hit her head.
But, like, I feel like somebody hit Heather, you know?
Someone.
Well,
Someone or something.
but then, I mean, just talking today, you know, like the noises in the woods and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it's a mixture. Maybe Mike is under the influence of the witch.
Yeah.
I thought that too. I thought
Yeah.
he could be possessed by the witch, and he hit Heather over the head, but he wouldn't have normally done that if it wasn't for the witch.
Well,
you
who was in
know?
the corner?
Mike.
Then how did he hit her over the head?
No, Josh. Did I say Mike? I meant Josh.
So Josh is in the corner.
I think maybe was Mike's in the corner.
Josh
But I
without
think
his tongue
Josh
hit her over the head.
Yeah.
Josh without
He
his
was like
tongue.
waiting in the basement there. Perhaps. You never know. But, and I mean, like, I did enjoy that theory about, like, Mike and Josh taking her out there to murder them. Like, that's very dark.
Purposely
but, like,
getting her lost, getting her really worked up, and then
it is
killing her.
interesting, but I don't think that that's it either. I mean, like, why would they do that? There's like no motivation unless they're both total psychopaths that they were like, well, this girl wants to make this movie, and maybe that's a good opportunity for us to murder a girl, just some random girl, and then take off and like start new identities because we can never be seen again after this.
Right.
Like, are they really gonna do this all just for murdering one person and then start a new life? Like, Mike didn't even know this girl. Like, it's really worth it to him to do that? I don't think so.
What that guy didn't bring up either is that the last broadcast came out before this, which is another found footage movie nobody talks about, where they go out in the woods looking for the Jersey Devil, and a bunch of them end up dead, and it turns out the guy making the documentary about them dying killed them and is making a documentary out of them being dead. And so that kind of... when he made that video, I was like, it's like the last broadcast. That would make sense, because that's where they got a little bit of the inspiration from. But no, I think that is... Even if they did go out with that, something else was in the woods with them.
Right.
So my theory is that there was a witch, but I also feel like Heather did not care what happened to her or them. I feel like it was a combination of both. I think if they would have went there, found the cemetery, turned around and went back, Heather would have been fine with that, but she'd rather shit happen.
Yeah.
And when shit did happen, she's like, well, we're not going anywhere.
Right.
We're going to stick around and see what the fuck this leads to.
Yeah, I mean, it was worth it to her, that risk, just to have a good movie, I think. Because, I mean, they could have just stayed in the tent when there was creepy stuff going on around them, but she's like, let's get out there with our cameras.
I want to get it on dad. She just kept saying that, yeah. Okay, now we're going to give scores.
Well,
what was your...
Oh, that is my theory.
That was just...
What were some other theories? Like, I saw some other theories online, like that they were tripping on mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
From eating mushrooms, I don't know. That it was some sort of the effects of local chemical waste.
Yeah, they didn't act like they were on mushrooms, and I doubt they would have been for days like that.
Right.
Unless they kept eating them. No.
Yeah.
And then they were in another dimension and or time.
That's, according to the guy, I mean, the guy who made the new one is the guy who made this. So according to him, that's exactly what's going on. They're in another dimension.
But how did other people go in, like Mary Brown and, other people went into the woods and saw that stuff and they came out?
They didn't go all the way in. Like, Mary Brown was just down by the creek and they came out, saw her, floated there for a little while, and then left her alone.
Nobody else saw the house or the graves or the...
Well, somebody had been in there because they knew that man had killed 7 children, and in the cellar they found the house.
Was that his house? Was that Rustin Parr's
That
house?
was his house,
Yeah, his cabin.
Okay.
And then also they had sent out a search party before, like the first search party, I think they didn't come back, and then they sent another search party and they came back. So some people go and come back, and some people never do.
I need to rewatch that because I've only seen it once. I think they touch on a lot of that stuff.
Maybe Heather sealed their fate when she messed with the rock on
right,
one
yeah.
grave.
That could be.
Accidentally. It wasn't on purpose.
No, but it was.
It's also possible that maybe that thing I was doing with the Zelda map, maybe that got them locked in that part. The directions they were taking
maybe
got them. It's like a ritual almost.
Locked in the dimension.
Yeah.
How do you think, like, to keep going south, how would they end up in the same spot? Was, like, the witch messing with the compass, do you think?
That could be.
Or...
Oh, yeah. In the new one, the compasses are all fucked up. So you look at them, you follow them, they take you to exactly where they want you to take you. So.
And Heather was so, like, confident going into it, like, I know exactly where we're going, but I mean, she was even like that when they were coming across the same log thing. They're like,
she's
it's
like,
the
that's
same.
not the
She's
same
like, it's
log.
not the same. I'm telling you, it's not the same one. Like, she acted so confident about it, but then she's like, oh, okay, it is the same.
That's when she started to freak out for real, I think.
Yeah. So, like, did she really know where they were going the whole time?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just when things start repeating themselves, there's not much you can really do, even if you know where you're going. So
because it was probably just out of their control at that point because the witch was messing with them.
Yep. And of course the witch is sadistic, even though it's supernatural. Everything evil has got to be like, I'm gonna mess with the brains first. Like, why? Quit it. Stop
it's
it.
Fun for them, I guess.
Ugh. Stupid ass supernatural ghost. Alright, who wants to go first? I'll do it. Alright, John, cool. Go for it. I'm giving this movie a 9. I want to give it a 10. I'm not gonna. No, you know what? Fuck it. 10.
Wow.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm giving this a 10. I didn't give it a 10 last time because I was under the influence of 2 mean dudes who just were very insistent and would have never left me alone about it if I didn't. I don't know what else could have been done with this movie to make it better. It's great. It's terrific. This is how found footage should be. So, other than like the very tiny things you were talking about, the hair, and I kicked the map into the river, but like you said, he had to figure out a way to say I lost the map, so he just improvised, and
Right.
it's fine. It's not realistic, but it's fine. I mean, witches getting you lost in the woods isn't realistic either, so fuck it.
And the witch could have been messing with their heads, in their minds, the kind of thoughts that they were having. I mean, like, she was messing with that guy, like, put thoughts into his head that killed all those
If
children.
Mike was under the influence of the witch could have told him to
Told
kick
him,
the
put
map
that
in the
map
river.
in the river.
I
yeah.
think it actually would have been more realistic to never find out what happened to the map.
That would have been good, too.
That
I
too.
agree.
But
that ramps up the anger, the animosity, and slows them down even more, because now they're going to fight more. And even though the fighting can get annoying, it's frustrating because you want them to keep moving, and they aren't.
Right.
So I say it's frustrating, but I like that about the movie, that it
Yeah.
frustrates you, and you want them so bad to get the fuck out of there. It took them 2 days to get in there, and they can't get back.
Yeah.
10. Ow, ow! Alright.
Okay, I guess I'll go. I mean, I think it was like a perfect found footage movie for sure. But like, there are horror movies that I like better than it, so I'm not gonna give it like all that way. But like, I'm gonna give it an 8. It was like really, really good. The acting was so realistic. I mean, so realistic that people thought it was real, and just it was very well done, and it was scary too. Like, I mean, I don't get scared easily at movies. That ending is haunting. Like, it sticks with you. It's creepy.
yeah, I can still see it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't want to be disappointing. I did like it. I do like it. I did like it.
No one's gonna get mad at you. It's okay.
No.
It's just as far as like my taste in movies.
Right.
I would say.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say 6 or 7, so I'll just say 6.5. How's that?
Alright.
Very good. It does make you think, and you can come up with all these theories, and they're unanswered questions.
Yeah,
and I do
and I
like
like that
that.
about it,
I
yeah.
like that. I do like that. I don't really have any kind of found footage movies to compare it to. You know what I mean? Like, I know you talk about a couple different ones that
Have you
I've
seen
never
any
seen.
other ones? Have you
Paranormal
seen like
Activity.
That's what I was gonna.
You've seen that.
Oh, right.
That was all static camera too. So
I was not a fan of that one. So this is better than that. For sure. 6 3/4.
woohoo! Oh, okie dokie. We gotta remember all of our. Okay, do you remember your Twitter website?
Twitter is horror pod.
At Just Horror Pod, not a horror pod.
Right.
Just Horror Pod.
At just horror pod on
Okay,
Twitter.
That's Twitter.
And Instagram is just a horror pod.
Ah, she had to stick an A in there.
Well, originally it did not, and then I had to make a new one because my hashtags wouldn't work on that account.
Yep. Facebook is Just Another Horror Podcast. I got it. The last time I made it horror castings for literally no reason. I could have just called it what it was. You're on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Just Another Horror Podcast. There are 2. One has archive in parentheses. Ben, old Ben, Wes, me, Cobra. That's where all of those old episodes are.
Reviewing hooker movies.
Yeah, you want Slimeball Bolorama or Chainsaw Hookers or I don't even remember what else. Other smut movies.
Go there.
Go there. That's where we are. And Shockma. Shockma's there if you want Shockma. We are also on Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to rate and review the show. And the email is justahorrorpodcast@gmail.com. That's everything, right?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, we did it. We're number 1.
In our own minds.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, thrill me.
Thank you.